Hi guys, welcome back to session. This is the first gameplay video that I've recorded at the new place. Normally the guitar show and tell kind of video should be online by now. That's recorded earlier today. So hopefully I can get that done as well. Yeah, quite a bit has happened in real life. Obviously we moved, which was kind of an ordeal in of itself. Pretty sure I made a quick post about this on the channel, but we had booked a Polish guy with a van to help us move on Monday, the 1st of May. And that was all planned. My brother-in-law was supposed to come on Sunday with just his car and a trailer to get some of the biggest pieces of furniture moved, like the laundry machine and our freezer. Okay. But the Saturday before that Monday, like 2 nights before, the Polish guy cancelled because his van had broken down and he wouldn't be able to come on Monday. Big bummer, of course. Anna started looking for someone else right away. She's on at least one, maybe a few Facebook groups of Polish people in Belgium where all kinds of stuff gets posted, mainly just to help each other out and like just expats in Belgium. And a few people replied. Those who did reply weren't able to help us. But presumably most people were not in the country that weekend because the 1st of May was a holiday. Not sure if it's a Belgian holiday or Flemish or whatever, but it's our Labor Day. Which is ironic because we had to move. But yeah, we also contacted my brother-in-law to let him know that things had changed and the guy had cancelled. And long story short, he came on, he still came on Sunday. But he was originally only supposed to come in the afternoon, like 3 or 4 in the afternoon. But instead he came as early as he could, which was supposed to be around 10, but it was more like 10:30 or 11 even. And he helped us move everything. Or, you know, all the big things that definitely wouldn't have fit in our own car. So all the furniture, a lot of the boxes, laundry machine, freezer, a bunch of gardening stuff. And instead of the one trip he was supposed to do, we did 2. But he came in a bigger truck, like I don't know what to call it, but like a big pickup style van. Not a full semi, but you know, bigger than a typical van. And so yeah, on the plus side, this meant that most of it was done in one day instead of spread out over 2 days. So in the end it was still good. Let's try to work on this first daily challenge. And yeah, my dad also came to help, and he took like 2 or 3 loads in his car of smaller stuff and boxes. And of course we drove, I should say Anna drove in our car. And my best friend and soon to be witness at our wedding also came, and he's kind of absurdly strong by my standards. He can lift whole pieces of furniture by himself that would normally take 2 people to carry. Played for a bit with manual catch, but for the sake of this video I think it's best to stick to auto catch, because I will land very few tricks. And yeah, it was a very intense day. Couple of days actually. But we got it done. And now it's still pretty chaotic around the house. Still a lot to unpack, even though it's been well, can't even count right now. And I forget today's date. Makes it kind of tricky to tell how long it's been. at least 2 weeks. Still a lot to unpack, and we haven't hung anything on the wall yet, like paintings or picture frames or whatever. But the main things are assembled. Spent like the better part of 2 days trying to assemble, or not trying, actually succeeding in assembling a big wardrobe upstairs. Which was also quite an ordeal, both the assembly and the delivery. Because we had planned for it to be delivered on Thursday, I guess the 4th. And they have GPS tracking. This is from IKEA, by the way. They have GPS tracking for the truck, so you can know where it is at all times and make sure you're ready for when they're actually here. And I'm not sure what we were both doing. I think I'm trying to remember, but I know I was working. Not sure what Anna was doing, but she was somewhere upstairs. And we saw the truck turn into our street. We saw the truck slow down to park. This was like a big truck, like a semi. And we saw the truck drive past. And cause a small traffic jam. The traffic just started moving. We saw the truck on GPS drive around the corner. Not sure doing what. And that's when Anna got a call from an unknown number. Assumingly the truck driver, or at least the delivery company, which it was, to inform us that there was nowhere for the truck to park. And also there was police in the street, which was probably one of the local policemen who came to check if we actually live here. It's like not sure if they do this everywhere, but when you register in a new city or a new address in general, a few days afterwards the police come by to check if you live there and how you're living there, and with the registered amount of people and no one else. And after that, you can go to City Hall to have your address changed on your ID. So the truck driver had seen the police and I guess wisely decided not to park somewhere illegally to, to drop off our delivery. But this meant that the delivery was delayed. And I remember the guy on the phone explaining to me, Anna gave the phone to me to pick up because we knew it would be them. He explained to me the situation, that it couldn't be delivered, making it seem like our fault because we didn't reserve any parking spaces because we didn't know we were supposed to. When we placed the order, there was only, a field where you could mark if it's a narrow street or not, which it was and which we did. And before I could really say anything or figure out what was happening, he had transferred me to someone from IKEA. Because now we had to schedule a new day for delivery. The woman then transferred me to someone from transport, also from IKEA. And luckily she was very patient and polite and understanding, or at least seemingly understanding. And we had no choice. It had to be another day. So we booked it for a week later on Thursday. And we had to again file for a, like a parking restriction in front of our house where the delivery truck could park, which costs a bit of money, like not a lot, but it was just a hassle to have to do it again because we already had to do it for the actual move. And the delivery itself was like, I think 60 euros, which is a lot. Like, it was a big delivery, and IKEA deliveries are always expensive. But that was just a sucky situation. But a week later, we got the wardrobe. Anna was away at work. I was home, and they came in time. They were in a much smaller truck, like more of a van this time. So we booked too much free space. But that's not really a problem, it's just probably kind of annoying for anyone else who wanted to park there. separate boxes with all the panels and some other stuff beside that wardrobe that we had ordered. But we got it, and I pretty much assembled it all by myself, because on the first evening we started putting it together pretty late, and it involved some hammering, which was pretty loud, and I'm pretty sure the neighbors were knocking on the walls. And the day after, Anna had to go to the office, I think. But yeah, I managed it to get it assembled, and I think properly assembled. Wasn't necessarily easy. But there's still a lot to unpack. The main issue is that we don't have that much storage space. Especially in the kitchen, we need to buy some other, like probably kind of a big cupboard, because we still have a lot to unpack, and it's becoming a bit of a problem to find a place for everything. Didn't mean to do a hard flip. But we'll get there eventually. Over-rotated on the way out. Have to do 201 inward heels for the weekly challenge. And I guess switch ones don't count. And those fire hydrants I have to trick over. I had the same challenge sometime last week, and it was really hard to make it register, because I'm not sure if it has to be a specific kind of fire hydrant or you know, not all of them are even easy to clear. Unless I put some kind of ramp in front. And so far, we really like living here. Like, all in all, you know, it was a stressful few months ever since we found out we had to move. And the move itself was not easy, because I don't think it ever is. But all in all, I think we both think actually this house and this area where we live now is a pretty big improvement over the old place. It's much more of a city where we live now, which means that we have more things, like more shops close by, and often even within walking distance. And the house itself is maybe a bit smaller, it's hard to say. But it's generally just a nicer house. A bit more expensive, but that's to be expected. And the two cats don't seem to mind the lack of garden. We were kind of worried that especially Limonka would not really enjoy it because we don't have a garden anymore, just a, you know, like a courtyard kind of place of roughly 2 by 4 meters or something. But so far it's fine. They both don't even seem to want to go out much. There's no more scratching at the doors like there always used to be, several times a day. So, all in all, I think it's good. How long have I been going? Half an hour. So, yeah, the only, or the worst thing, I guess, is that we didn't really close the old house in a nice way. Like, close that chapter, if you will. Because, of course, we had to leave the house in good condition to get our deposit back. And I forget when, I think sometime last year, Anna suddenly had the idea to go follow dance hall lessons. Both for fun and as a way to work out a bit more. And in order to practice in front of a mirror, she had the idea to buy a bunch of square IKEA mirrors that you could stick to the wall. But due to poor planning on both of our parts, of course, the wall to which we stuck all these mirrors to make one big mirror was not completely level, and it created kind of like a funhouse mirror effect, because none of the pieces were level, so it was like a broken image, if you will. And even worse, we had the idea to stick them to the wall with silicone, because we both didn't realize in time that they came with, those double-sided stickers that are sufficient to hold them up against the wall. So definitely the bottom 2 rows of mirrors were stuck with silicone before we realized we had the stickers. And to make things worse, the wall was kind of, I don't know the technical term, not even in Dutch, so definitely not in English. But it's like kind of mesh wallpaper that you stick on the wall and then you plaster over that. And the mirrors which we stuck with the stickers came off relatively easy, but they still took off pieces of that plaster. And definitely the ones we stuck with silicone just took off whole chunks. Which left a pretty big mess. One time our landlord was over with his wife. I forget what for, but it doesn't matter. And we decided it was best to be upfront about it and admit what happened, and we knew we messed up and we would try to fix it. And he wasn't happy, but also not super angry, just didn't understand what we were thinking to stick anything to a wall with silicone. And yeah, he told us what he expected us to do and what it should look like. Just fill the holes with plaster or filler, sand it so it's all even and smooth, and if necessary paint over it. It was just a white wall, so nothing major paint wise, but yeah, so again, at this point we already moved and we just had to clear out some of the last stuff and clean the house. And now that came on top of it, so maybe we were a bit too hasty, and we definitely overestimated how well of a job we would be able to do with this, but I thought it looked okay. And yeah, on the day when we did it, I sent a picture to our landlord just to to show him what it was like and ask if it would be sufficient. And in the picture it seemed better than it was. So, yeah, on the day where we had to hand over the keys and do like a short walk through the house to point out any issues or damages or stuff like that. He wasn't very nice. First of all, Anna had already predicted that he would be looking for mistakes or for stuff he could blame us for because we moved out so quickly. And he effectively lost like half a year or more of rent because we moved out sooner than he thought we would, even though it's not really our problem. He told us he would sell the house because he had to for financial reasons. We had the choice of waiting until there was a buyer and seeing if they would let us keep living there or not. Because in that case, maybe we wouldn't even have had to move. but we didn't want to take that chance, so we started looking right away, and because we found something pretty quickly, he is now losing rent that we would have paid him. So yeah, Anna was a bit cynical about this and predicted correctly that he would try to look for things that we damaged and that he could take from the deposit. And as soon as we got there and we started the tour, it was apparent pretty quickly that, you know, he was going to be like that. Because there was, the shower wasn't properly cleaned and there was a sticky patch on the what do you call it? The end post of the stairs handrail. And we hadn't cleaned inside the radiators, so they were all dusty in hair. No, so they were all dusty inside and had cat fur in them, which I guess we could have done, but we didn't even know we could open those, and we just skipped over it by ignorance. He pointed out stickers on the wall, which I'm not even sure what they were for, but they had always been there, so that was really not something we had done, and he pointed it out as something we left and that we should have taken off. Oh. And a few other small things. And then the sinks in the bathroom that were is it enamel? Like just normal shiny white ceramic. That we allegedly had scrubbed too hard or with the wrong kind of sponge, because they were all scratched and not really shiny anymore, which it's just, you know, maybe we did, maybe we didn't use the correct cleaning tools for this, but it's just all silly things in our opinion. And then of course the real kicker with the wall we destroyed, which again we admitted that was a stupid thing to do. And we apologized, and we did try to fix it as best as we could, but he was really not happy about it, about how we left it. So he gave us the choice to either have it fixed ourselves professionally, or he could try to find someone and get an estimate, and then that would be taken from the deposit. Because according to him, it would take at least €1,000 to do it the way he wanted it to be done professionally. The whole wall, just take everything off and do it again. Anna strongly disagrees, and she has some, not practical experience, but through her work she is in contact with a lot of construction workers, and she said there's no way that it would cost $1,000 to do one wall. So yeah, it was never really a heated argument or anything, just he said it would cost this much and Ani was like, no way, that's you're talking out of your something without saying it like that, of course. And she would be able to find someone who would do it for much less. But then yeah, there would have been the risk that if we would have it fixed professionally, that it still wouldn't be the way he would want it. So in the end we agreed to pay him half of our deposit, or it's not like we pay him, it's just weird. We would only get half the deposit back and the rest would go to him to pay for the damages, which sucked, of course, but we were already kind of at peace with the fact that we wouldn't get everything back anyway. But it was mostly the way he told us all these things, like really almost talking to us like we were children that had done something wrong, that it was disrespectful and all that stuff, and just he kept going on about it even though we had already apologized many times, and like we knew that we had been dumb. And yeah, it just left a sour taste. And Anna said afterwards, and I agree, that that whole experience, that 1 hour, whatever it was, that we spent going over damages and talking about the deposit, how much it would take, etc. That hour pretty much ruined the whole almost 2 years that we had lived there. So, which I agree was really makes us think back on those 2 years with a much more, yeah, like just a sour taste, you know. Because we lost some, if not a lot, of respect for him because of the way he handled it. We felt stupid for messing up the wall the way we did. And maybe over time we will come to laugh about it, but for now it stings more than anything. But that's just stuff, you know. Nothing you can do about it afterwards. Just suck it up and deal with it. I didn't think I'd be talking about this little subject for this long. I filled the whole video just talking about that. If anything, now we're extra cautious about, decorating in our current house. Don't stick anything to walls that can't be removed easily. Just drill holes and use nails, but nothing sticky. And just generally be more careful about that kind of stuff. I think that's going to be it for this video. I don't think I'm going to be able to do the fire hydrant challenge. I apologize if the rambling was not really that interesting, but at least I hope the talking was somewhat relaxing. So yeah, as always, thank you very much for watching and for listening. And I will talk to you in the next video. Bye bye.